let's go into the strategies. Oh, I am sorry that it looks as if I'm rushing through because of time, but trust me, these are I'm actually kind of trying to go intensive while minding the time. All right. So what are these strategies? What are these strategies? The first is that you need to understand and prioritize evidence-based instructions. Note that I didn't just say instructions or teaching and learning or pedagogy. I used a description. Evidence-based, please write this down. Evidence-based instructions. What are those? They are tried and tested instructional approaches. That means that as a school leader, you need to understand the science of how instructions work. Yes, this is what I do as a school leader. Everything we do in the school, I ask myself, what's the science of how this works? If there are some courses we have developed with ClickGrowth, if you sign up, you're going to see these amazing courses. One of them, where I talked about the science of learning. There's no way you can understand instructions. There's no way you can actually do instructions well, all right, or have fantastic learning outcomes without understanding the science of learning, how the brain of the learners work. Okay, so understand the tested and tried instructional approaches, best practices. So I go again, discover and understand the science of how instructions work. And again, let me mention some of this strategy. Because of time, I wanted to ask one or two of us to mention some global best practices in terms of instructions. What are those powerful, wonderful, I don't know what adjective you'll be using, those powerful skills or techniques that educators all over the world are deploying in instructions? We know of adaptive learning. I might not explain them intensively. I might not deep dive into each one, but please have them written down because you have a lot of research to do after now. Adaptive learning, that's the advanced, I think the baby we call is differentiation, right? Now, this advance of differentiation. Then we'll have personalized learning, which many of us know. Inquiry-based learning and project-based. Look at that inquiry. In the classrooms, you need children who are asking questions, not just answering questions. I hope you know there are two different ball games. All right, answering questions and asking. The other one, as powerful as answering questions are, then if you are taking children even higher in the thinking, you need to get them to develop questions themselves. And how can that happen if your classrooms, if the quality of instructions don't foster inquiry? When they take on lessons in science and literacy, numeracy, what have you, get them to hypothesize. They are bringing out hypotheses. They're bringing guesses. You can ask them, okay, you can take a topic and ask them, what do you think about this? If we do this, what do you think the result will be? And they're putting on their thinking caps. All right, they're researching. No matter how young the learners are, even if they are toddlers, there's a way we go about this. Okay, now they are putting on that, they are coming up with answers at the end of their testing, at the end of their inquiry, pardon me. They are seeing answers and they are trying to checkmate the answers they are gotten and the answers they had initially, their hypothesis. My goodness, that's amazing. And then you're not telling them, oh, your answer was actually wrong because you have a thinking class. In a thinking class, don't you ever find yourself telling a child, no, 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 you are not right. There's a way to go about it, right? You just show them, okay, actually, this is this, and this is how we arrived at this, and this is why it should be this, this, this. Okay? Then we have cross, or what we call interdisciplinary learning or cross curricular connections. Okay, that's where you have teachers connect whatever is being learned in literacy or English language to other subjects. That's a skill that many educators do not have. And how can they have it if you don't inspire them? If you're the leader, you don't even know these high impact teaching strategies. How would they know? How would you inspire them? What do you discuss during staff meetings? Do you just discuss, okay, this, you came to school late. Why did you not come to school late? Why are you putting on slippers instead of shoes? There are even more important things to discuss during staff meeting. There are important data to look at and analyze. And you will notice that you are out of the competition. You're actually setting yourself on an edge. Then we have, of course, the flipped classroom. Please go and research on this because I want you to do research. I'm not going to pour a lot here. And then we have maker spaces. I love this. Actually, we have developed this in our own school. Maker spaces. Whoa. And this is where you get children to develop skills. If you're big on skills, then you need to have maker spaces and incorporate it in your instructions. We have collaborative learning. Now, when I ask us, what are the 4 C's? In fact, we actually have 7 C's of 21st century skills. Please, can someone tell me the 4 C's of 21st century skills?
Critical thinking.
Yes, go on.
Collaboration.
And creativity. Amazing. Wonderful. Please mute your device. Mute your device. Wonderful. I wish I saw that educator who actually gave that response. Yes, please mute your devices. God bless you wherever you are. I can't see your name because I'm sharing my screen. I need to give you a gift, okay? And you can reach out after now because I love this. I love instructional leaders. 4 C's of 21st century skills. We have critical thinking, creativity, collaboration, and what? Communication. All right. Now, if we're looking at these 4 C's, you are telling your teachers or you are setting goals and expectations. Thank God we have it as the next one around these 4 C's. We're saying that children should not go through your school without developing these skills. You'll notice that this is actually a broad umbrella housing a lot of skills. Talk about entrepreneurship, talk about flexibility, adaptability, problem solving, analytical thinking. They all fall under this 4 umbrella. That's why you must not joke with these skills. Now, if we're raising critical thinkers, collaborators, we keep telling educators to collaborate. We're telling adults that, look, you need to be big on social capital, right? How do we do that when we didn't actually start as a young child? We didn't start from cradle. Now we are opportune to right some wrong. We're raising children who are collaborators, who can stand and who are building networks. It can happen in your classroom. In your instructions, you are teaching verbs, you are teaching fractions, you are teaching photosynthesis. You are actually getting them to collaborate, regardless of their age, whether they are 2-year-olds or even 20-year-olds. All right, collaboration, be big on that. You may be asking, how do we really do this? I wish I can go intensively on this in this high impact. I love calling them high impact teaching and learning. As you do research, I would advise you to please sign up with ClickGrowth. We have developed courses that will answer these questions. Amazing courses. All right. Then we have the third one, before we go to that one, remember flexible scheduling, what we call innovative timetabling. It is a powerful instructional strategy. Please write it down and go research on that. Make schedules flexible. Your school, if you don't achieve ability. Okay, is there any problem? I can hear someone talking. Can you hear me? All right. I assume we can all hear me and I'll go on. Now, the third is setting high instructional and teacher development expectations and goals. Someone, can you hear me?
I think you are not sharing the correct screen that you are talking about.
Oh, pardon? I didn't get that.
I think the screen you are sharing is different from what you are explaining.
Okay. What can you see on the screen?
Strategies? No, it's the right one. It's the right one. She's in number 3, setting high instructional development.
Thank you, guys. Can we?
That's where we are.
Thank you so much. A lot of people are following. Thank you. I'm sorry, it could be your connection, ma'am. Check your connection. So we have setting high expectations and goals for instructions and teacher development. You cannot get them to be big on instructions if you don't develop them, okay? So how do you now set high goals, high expectations? We've talked about that. You need to look at global, I want you to look from global perspective, okay? What are the skills that children in this age and time require? If I may ask you, what industrial revolution are we, please? Can someone, just one person, unmute. What industrial revolution are we? Yes, who is saying something to us?
Technology.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. Okay, she says technology. One more answer, one more response, because after this slide, we'll have 2 more slides to discuss, and we're done for today. Yes, which industrial revolution are we currently? One more person. Please don't browse. If you have to check. Oh, knowledge. Oh, beautiful. If you have to check Google before you can answer, then you don't know it. That's the truth. All right, don't check Google. So someone says technology and someone says knowledge. Actually, they're not wrong, okay? We are in the 5th industrial revolution. We have even gone, I hear educators say we're in the 3rd. We have gone beyond the 3rd. Even some people we've left the 4th. We're in the 5th industrial revolution. So you need to ask what's happening in the current revolution, and the quality of instructions in your school. Are they addressing what is required in this industrial revolution? Are you building children with the right skills? Thank God we've talked about 4 most important 21st century skills. Now you need to start asking, the instructions in the classroom, are they helping children? Are they fostering these skills? Okay, so when you're setting high expectations for teachers, for instructions, let them bother around the skills you need to see. Not just grade. The truth is that when you implement this, the grades in your school will be top-notch, all right? Talk about JAMB, or they're writing SAT, or they're writing checkpoint exams. They'll be top-notch, so don't worry about that. But don't be about the product. Be a school that is big on process, all right? And that's the hallmark of 21st century education, process-oriented. Okay, so set high expectation, not mediocre expectations for teacher development and instruction and design. Now, instructions. Now we have aligning curriculum, instructions and assessment with standards. Are you asking yourself, what's the standard for the kind of exams we want the children to write at the end of all the exposures? What exams are you taking? Placement exam, maybe in schools, in top schools in Nigeria, top private schools, or they are going to be writing international exams. Many times we don't even think about exposing them to meet international standards. Then if that will actually happen, that means it must be addressed in the teaching and learning. The quality of instructions must address them. That's what I'm actually addressing this morning. I've mentioned a lot of approaches already. If you go on to implement them, you are good to go. Now, the quality of your assessment must also address them. You need to be big on 3 types of assessment, okay? That is the formative, which is the number 1. Please, I'm going to put them on the order of priority. We have the formative assessment. We have the, I think, performance assessment or performance task. And the 3rd one is summative. Please emphasize formative and performance tasks. The summative are the observation, the classroom, the quizzes, the classroom question and answers, the exit card you give the children to answer at the end of each topic. Just even the homework, these are all forms of formative assessment, and they're actually the most powerful. Okay, performance tasks are also powerful because it helps the children to it helps you to actually assess their knowledge or skills based on real life tasks. You can get them to make presentations or carry out real life projects. These are all what we call performance assessment. And of course, the summative. If you get it right with summative and performance, sincerely speaking, summative is sorted out. That's why these other 2 are very important. So if the quality of your assessment in the classroom the quality does not align with standards, with international standards, how will they now face the exams? How will they write those international tests or assessments and succeed? All right. Now, I don't want to even go to data. I wanted us to look at JAMB data this year, the exams that the results. But time will not permit us. So that will tell you why there is a mismatch between standards and then process, or product and process. But we can't go that. I can't go there now. Now, let me take us back a little bit to evidence-based instructions. I didn't mention SEL, social and emotional learning. Educators all over the world are big on this, and you should. You need to give it your attention. I started doing this 4 years ago when I got certified on SEL. All right, social and emotional learning. That's because we need to help children to build diverse competencies. We're not just helping them to develop academic competencies, but we need children who are socially intelligent as well as emotionally intelligent. That's why you need to incorporate SEL in instructions. You may be asking, how do we do it? Go and do research. I will also have a course that actually addresses that as well. Okay, then let's now go on to aligning. We've talked about aligning curriculum with standard. The instructional designing. Let me ask you this question. Do you have an instructional design in your school? If you don't, then there's a need to develop one. I need to come into your school. Someone needs to come into your school and ask you, maybe an educator, a consultant, or even just a teacher, and say, what's your instructional design like in this school? If you can't answer that question, then you need to up your game as an instructional leader. What's the quality of your assessment? How do you say, okay, in our school, these are the teaching techniques we adopt. In our school, this is how we do assessment. In our school, this is how we construct instructional or learning objectives. Yes, if you're raising critical thinkers, and then in your teacher's lesson plan, they're writing, by the end of this lesson, the children should be able to define verbs. The children should be able to define fractions. And number 2, by the end of this lesson, the children should be able to understand the types of fractions and all that. Oh, come on. Remember that, how do we talk about blooms within this short time? It's practically impossible. Okay, if you want to raise critical thinkers, you want to raise creatives, you want to raise communicators, collaborators, then it must reflect in your lesson objectives, in your teachers' learning objectives. Teach them how to construct learning objectives that foster higher order thinking, HOT, write that down. Okay, then we have supporting teacher capacity development. Yes, and yes, you are an instructional coach. You are their number one mentor, whether they like it or not. When you ask teachers, who is your mentor, they need to call you first before anyone else. When it comes to their craft, you're the number one mentor. Okay, because you have direct influence on them. So support them, because you know this now. When they come to you and say, Mrs. Kemi, Mrs. Ajola, Mr. Kelvin, how do I go about this? I need to develop this skill in these children. You should be able to stand up and say, yes, let's do this. According to research, I think we should come up with it. We should do this and that and that. You should be able to have an answer and then model them. We have lead by example, right? That we omitted is on purpose. You need to lead by example. You need to go into the classroom and actually model how high impact instructions are done. Yes. Model how to develop the skills. Show them how high expectations are set. And of course, objectives that foster critical thinking and all those skills we have discussed. Lead by example. Okay, get them, offer them opportunities to develop their capacity, all right? That's CPD, continuing professional development. And then we have monitoring and evaluation. Yes, quality assurance is key as, in your craft, okay, as a school leader. And part of it is monitoring and evaluation, okay? Here, what do? You need to go into the classrooms and observe, have walkthroughs, have check-ins. Yes, I think that's the term. Have check-ins, regular check-ins every week. If you can do it 3 times a week, please go on. All right. Observe what is going on in the classroom, the quality of instructions in the classroom, because this will actually form a part of teacher appraisal. I see school leaders wait until the end of the term and they start dishing out forms for children to appraise teachers. Come on. Teacher appraisal is an ongoing process. It is something, it's not an event. You don't just wake up and say, oh, this week we'll be carrying out appraisal. Come. That's not how it's done. It's a process, and a whole lot of things are meant to be given attention to. We talked about setting expectations as part of appraisal process. You don't appraise people you have not given an expectation, right? That's the way you don't assess children, when you don't have a learning objective. So if you are evaluating teachers, let it be based on real data you have gathered from your observation of their craft, of the quality of their teaching, and the learning that goes on in the classroom. And then second to the last, we have data-driven instructional designs. My goodness, data-driven instructional what? Decisions. Like we said earlier when we started, you have to be big on data. You have to be big on data, okay? So gather data from all sources in the classroom, their assessment data, the exam data, and then you have strategy meetings with your teachers where you sit down and you're discussing this data. You're asking, okay, where were these children last time? Where are we now? Why are they why are they underperforming, or what did we do differently that they are overperforming this time around? And you're looking at data and it's informing professional development. It's informing, the adjustment of instructions. Okay, then finally, resource allocation. Please, after you have all is said and done, and you don't give them the resources they require to get the job done, then there's a problem. They'll be incapacitated. All right. So ensure that it's not about the money, like I said, is first of all you're thinking. We have digital resources for free out there. Just get them to access these resources. And then as we wrap up, exploration versus exploitation. Look at that. This is a concept in decision making in business. All right. And I'm asking you, are you a school that is big on exploration or exploitation? Or you're actually striking a balance between these two? What does exploration mean? What's exploitation? Exploitation is when you deploy the strategy of trying to release knowledge you have gathered over the years. Let me give you an example. During your teacher meetings, what do you discuss? Do you tell them, okay, we have gone through this, we have undergone this training. How did we do this? How did you always in retrospect, or how do I put it? You are trying to build stability. Thank God it's here. Yes. You're trying to build stability. It's not bad in the real sense, because you need to ensure you implement whatever you have developed, right? Or every strategy you are trying to execute. You need to implement them. That's where exploitation comes in. But you need to move ahead to be big on exploration. This is where you are an innovator. You're asking your team members, what do we do next? What are educators all over the world saying about this? What can we do better? You are talking about expansion, innovation, disruption. Okay, so I have other terms: consolidation versus expansion, stability versus adaptability, optimization versus innovation, incremental versus disruptive. So the question back at you is, are you big on exploration or exploitation, or you have learned how to balance the two? Many schools who actually know or knew, put that, how to balance the two, when COVID struck, they were able to adapt easily. And you see them, they made a hell of money, while others were lamented. Oh, hey, we're not coping. We're not doing anything. There's no way we can connect with our learners. COVID this, COVID that. Schools were cashing out. Why? Because these schools have mastered the art. They have mastered the science of exploration and exploitation. Finally, you have this. What would you do differently in the coming session as an instruction leader? You need to now map out your action plan. Make it 5. This term, this is what I would do differently, this, and this, and that. I hope I've been able to inspire you. Thank you once again. Thank you so much for being with me all through, from the beginning of the session to the end. Remember that there's a whole lot to talk about, but for time. But I think we have done a lot of justice. We have done so well already. Thank you so much.